Good day, Mr. Lucky. Thank you for having me today. On today's theme, we have Beyond Servitude, Building Africa's Financial Independence for Continental Development. It's been interesting following you through the different series. You've spoken about Africa in relation to religion, education, real estate, and many more. So today, we want to gain insights into your wisdom when it comes to Africa's financial independence. And we'll be jumping right into the questions. Africa is the second largest continent on Earth, yet we control barely 3% of global trade. Is this the result of wrong Western narrative, or do we sincerely lack the capacity to handle more?
All right. Thank you for having me, for sitting with me at this time. Your question is of good issues. If we had to look back to the concept of Africa, and now we lost control of our resources, and then there has been shifts in power of African resources. So that way, yes, on one hand, it's from the Western narrative. On the other hand, we lack the capacity to take control and to manage effectively our resources. That's it.
Okay, so if you were to draw, would you say it's a draw between both? Would you say one is higher than the other? Is it more of our incapacity, or is it more of the narrative that has been pushed to us that has made us remain small?
The pattern to the Western structure during the colonial era has been maintained. So it is hard for us to withdraw and take control the pattern to every resources that belongs to Africa in every nations. But with the right capacity, we take full control of it. So I would say it's more of the capacity than the structure the West has established after and during the colonial era. That it is more of our capacity, the ability, the knowledge and wisdom to withdraw back and take control of everything that belongs to Africa and begin to manage them effectively. It has to do with our capacity, yes, in leadership and in management.
For a continent that hosts the second most populated space on Earth, just following behind Asia, one would think that Africa should have the capacity. So if you were to hint a little more on what capacity really means, does it go beyond just being more of producers than consumers, or is there more to what capacity means in relation to global trade?
Civilization has existed from the past. Some kingdoms, now countries, we are ahead of some countries. So that means they had the platforms, they had the infrastructure to back up ideas, inventions. This gave them the leverage to be ahead of other kingdoms.
True.
So that means the capacity itself cut across the idea itself and infrastructure that they have developed to be able to take control of all resources across all continents, most especially from Africa. They knew that Africa at that time, during the civilization era, they were behind, and they have never this. So Africa has no option than to submit and subject themselves because they were behind at the time. First. Secondly, they never took priority and they never took pride in the level to which they were at the time, because of the West has the infrastructure ahead of Africa. I think that's one of the major reasons why they dominated African kingdoms at the time.
True.
If you have to think back, that's it. That's it.
So, does this mean that a lack of innovation and infrastructure is why Africa only has less than 3% of global trade allocated to it?
I wouldn't really want to use the word lack itself. It is the ability, which means the know-how. The know-how. Every country that has been ahead, every countries that call themselves the first world have the know-how.
True.
And that's what is missing in Africa today. So that's what we as Africans need to restore. That's what we must separate, the know-how.
Very well understood. Second question. If tomorrow all aids and foreign loans vanished, what three foundations must Africa urgently build so our children do not kneel like slaves, but they can stand as kings?
It doesn't have to vanish.
Hmm.
It was not vanished before we start building this space. The first thing we must do, we must begin to forge our paths. By forging your path means you must discover your identity. First, you must know who you are. And Africans must begin to know who they are as Africans. And then they begin to embrace what they have and take pride in what they have. We must begin to take pride of what we have as Africans. And then we begin to create things, view things in our path, not through what we've learned from the West, not through what we copy from them, but it's through the path that we have forged for ourselves. These are the foundation we must begin to establish. So these 48s and everything, we must not let them stop before we begin to build these foundations.
True.
Yes.
So if I understand you correctly, African identity is one of the foundations.
Exactly. The African identity is one of the foundations. The most important foundation.
Okay. So if African identity stands as one of the three foundations, what other two foundations should we look to for financial independence in Africa?
Principles around the entire world, they are the same. But strategies are different. If we check the principle, the first world nation, they are creators, they are inventors. Any country void of creation will always be subjects. We always be slaves. So the creation itself is to what makes us powerless. It's what makes us leaders. So the African power lies in his creation. That's it.
This reminds me of a quote of yours that I really love. It says, "Every nation devoid of investment is a forest." Okay, I remember a comment on your page. Someone said you're always talking like Africans are different from other races. And the person said all races are the same. But when you speak like there is more about Africa that you know, that you wish all other Africans knew about themselves. So when you talk about Africans realizing who they are, what does that mean?
All races are not the same.
Hmm.
Just the same way you have all fingers are not equal, all races are not the same. There are presets to everything. When Africa was independent, when our countries, every kingdom, they were independent, if we compare those kingdoms with the great kingdoms that has existed, it's none to be compared. There are kingdoms in Africa, in Nigeria, that you notice that was neutralized by colonialization, that we are far superior, even in civilization. They were independent thinkers and inventors. What they created at the time, until now, you would ask yourself, how were they able to think in that manner?
True.
And you may agree with me that stops after the colonialization. Everything ended at that era. And then we begin to take part towards the Western patterns and languages. That's why it is hard for an African today to create something significant that is totally distinctive from the Western pattern.
True.
So all races are not the same. Every race and continent has been gifted, but their kiddos and their kiddos. And the African kiddos, we were God to gods. We were rulers. We got the power at the time. If you read back to history, you understand why the West came to Africa. They marvel
True.
on the strength of our kings. The king of Mali, the great Benin kingdom, the great Oyo kingdoms, every kingdoms around Africa, they were great kingdoms. So that's
all Africans need to hear this. So going to the third question. Each year, Africa loses over $88 billion through illicit financial outflows, more than it receives in aid. 3 major challenges are responsible for this. Number 1, losing our best minds to the West. Number 2, investors leaving due to unprofitable government policies. And number 3, our inability to process our own raw exports. Which of these does your wisdom demand that we focus on?
your question is very vital and critical. I will take them a step at a time. So I'm taking you back to your first outline, your first sentence.
Yep.
Read that sentence again.
It says each year, Africa loses over $88 billion through illicit financial outflows, more than it receives in aid. So Africa gives more to the West. $88 billion leaves Africa to the West, more than Africa receives in aids every single year.
There is a term I used during one of the interviews I had. Every country's vault of investment is a forest. And their names that they have tagged Africa for a long time, which is that we are poor. The essence to why they think we are poor, of which we are not poor, is because of lack of resources. We have resources, but we are not in control of our resources, correct?
Yes, sir.
So that means, where are these resources going? They are living as fair. And how are they living as fair? It's because there is a pattern of control and structures that have been placed from the colonial era.
True.
That still runs until today.
You know.
So if I take you back to the colonial era, our people we are being sold as slaves to the Western countries. And our resources were being transported to them. Regardless of we having independence now, which they assume we've taken control. But that same pattern of exports still continues. Now, what's the major pattern there? If you remember when I told you that infrastructure itself is the baseline to ideas and opportunities. So that means if I have an idea to create a lamp and I don't have infrastructure to back it up, I can't invent anything.
True.
For example, when Tesla, the German guy, had the idea of this electricity, there was no infrastructure to back it up. So he went to the US. That's why the US will remain the base of invention today, not because they were given the gift of ideas. Idea, creativity, and excellence is in all races and across all continents. We all, regardless of the race, the color, have equivalent an idea. The idea is in us, the creativity is in us. But without infrastructure to develop this creativity, we look towards countries. Let me tell you, human capital and resources will always flow towards opportunities.
True.
So that means, to answer your question, our talents are not living because they want to live.
Mm.
They are living because there is no opportunity. So any country that they find this opportunity, they go for it. Talents and resources will always flow towards opportunity. So how would you take a pivotal step to bring this talent back to our continent? It's to create opportunity, an enabling environment, a secured environment, a safe environment. And they come in. It's natural. You don't have to tell them, come back to our country.
Yeah.
I say, I want our leaders, they come back. And Nigeria is changing. Africa is changing. No, you don't say it. It's not through words. No one would want to leave their home if there is opportunity.
True.
That's it. If there is a mango tree in front of us here, the mango will not beg you to come pluck it. It just has to shine itself. You will find it. Opportunity is what we don't have here. If you check the 36 states of Nigeria, for example, you will know that we barely lay hands on two cities that are developing.
Hmm.
Why are the other a few states are looking up to these two states? It's because there is opportunity.
True.
So we have leaders in every sphere, in every state, from the governor to senators to commissioners. Their goal is to create opportunity in every city for talents to be retained. Management and leadership is the key factor to development. These are the principles. That's it.
Would you say that opportunity births capacity, or would you say capacity births opportunity?
Both of them are independent, but one need one to be realized. Opportunity was created for ideas to blossom.
Hmm.
Opportunity was created for talents to shine. You may agree with me that a doctor here who has been given minimal infrastructure, which is the pigment to work, he can't utilize his talent effectively. Well, let him go to the US where there is infrastructures and he is one of the top doctors in that establishment. What happened? What changed? Seems because there was an enabling environment with infrastructures for him to shine. That's it.
So opportunity grows capacity, makes sure.
Rules and notches, Bassett. That's all.
Hmm.
That's all.
Thank you, sir. Africa receives just 2% of global investment, despite housing 1.4 billion people and half of the world's arable land. Should more foreign investment be seen as a blessing or as a new colonial tax in disguise? should we be concerned that only 2% of investment comes to us? Should we open ourselves to more? Or should we guard ourselves from more foreign investments while focusing on growing our own capacity inwardly?
When I look into that data and I ask a few questions, why just 2% of investment coming in Africa, a 34 nation as a continent, just 2% of the person? I discover that it is not because we are not viable to investment. It is the identity that has been labeled in Africa. It is the label that we first has accepted and second has perceived ourselves. Investment itself, remember when I told you, every resource flows into opportunity, correct?
True.
That's it. Are you saying the entire 54 nations of Africa, the Western entrepreneurs or investors, they didn't lay hold on any opportunity around that paper?
We must have.
It's an intentionality to keep Africa in its form for them to remain subjects. Not because we are not viable. Not because Africa cannot deliver as entrepreneurs. Okay, let me let you know. See. All human, we are born with potential. Human and lands and communities, we are born with potential. Every human, across every races, they were all developed and harnessed. So that means in New York itself was once a potential location.
True.
Is that not correct?
It is.
The people of New York were all potential individuals. They were all harnessed. That's why sometimes when I look at us as Africa, we go there to get knowledge. I ask myself, where did they get their knowledge? That's my question. So you are going to learn from them. Who did they learn from? Did they specifically speak to God that God, we alone should you speak to? And then we really want to distribute knowledge to the suite. Is that how it works?
Yes.
But say the pattern that cut across all industries, all in religion and everything, in business, we always learn from them. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
That's it. So we don't have the capacity to think, to think. We don't have the capacity to embrace that whatever we've thought about is original and is very useful to the entire world. We don't embrace it. We feel ashamed of what we believe, except it's been affirmed by the West because we feel they're ahead of us. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Seeing that because when you talk about identity, most people think you are just speaking about it casually. And so they ask for more actionable steps on social media. But listening to you today, it seems like at the core of every challenge or benefit Africa would ever pass through is a strong sense of identity. Because without identity, we can't create opportunities for ourselves. And without opportunities, we can't grow in capacity.
It's very obvious. As time goes on, I'll begin to unveil and unleash what it means and how to get your identity. Check thriving institutions in our sphere, in every African continent. It's either those institutions were created by the West, brought to us by the West, or the Western influence and fingerprint was among those institutions, those businesses, or any institutions, religion at all. You will find a fingerprint of the West in every institution. Find any institution in Nigeria or any African country that was built and sustained from scratch by an African, by Africans, that has lasted. Tell me.
No, I know.
Because they lost their identity. We are living under their influence or that someone else's identity. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir. So, seeing that these Western countries don't have good intentions for us, should we still look towards foreign aids, foreign investment from them? Or do we see their foreign investment as colonial tax in disguise?
We must embrace foreign investments with all our hearts. In fact, foreign investment itself is what it is not. When I see entrepreneurs, great influential entrepreneurs, the way they present Africa to other investors in the West or any countries, that's not how you get invested in it.
Hmm.
That's not how. You can't say Africa is rising. Entrepreneurs, investors don't invest in a rising environment. You must show your value. Because Africa is rising, we must rise now. So go and invest in Africa. What kind of nonsense is that? Make Africa appealing to them. That's all. Investment will come naturally. I tell you, resources flow towards opportunity. Project Africa, those businesses, as an opportunity for them. Don't just say the word opportunity. What is the opportunity? That's all. I've always said, if I can beat you with my weapon, I will use your weapon to fight you. As far as I'm concerned, 60 to 65% of even the investment that is coming in is resources that has left Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So we must use everything to get those resources back, either through institutions, investment, anything that's all, it must return back to us. Because if we continually, we are void of investment, we will always be forest. Our nations, our community will always look like forest. So investment is a major factor. So on one hand, we are getting leaders who are managing our resources effectively, taking control of our resources, leading with the right capacity. On the other hand, we are attracting investment to our continent, to our countries and cities,
While maintaining control.
while maintaining control of what we have. That's it.
Thank you, sir. When colonial powers carved Africa, they gave us borders but denied us African currency. Is it time we create our own continental money, or are we still too divided to trust one another with such power?
If there is an accident and there is an injury, a question is not to cover up the injury. First, you must know the root cause of the injury, then you fight it. It's not about currency itself. It's not about creating currency. We understand, yes, the West, one of the major Western power, they dominate with currency. Yes, that's the number one thing they dominate with. But that's not the case. It's not about currency. Whatever currency Africans have, once we are valuable, once we project ourselves as valuable, our currency rises. Before now, what was our currency rate during even a brief after we got our independence? Our currency was very high at the time. So it's not the issue of currency. It's going back to our roots and making amendments of everything we've lost, restoring everything back, that will become viable and valuable and appealing. That's all.
Well said. 70% of Africans live in informal housing, yet land remains our oldest inheritance. Is real estate only a business, or is it Africa's secret path to financial sovereignty?
There are industries that are key factors to development. In every developed nation, there's a framework, there is a plan to do towards development. And the key factor in everything that I've seen, every nation that has developed, is real estate. is infrastructure, building infrastructures, even if they are not the major strategy. For example, Dubai built on tourism, one of the pillars of development. But real estate was the evidence. Do you understand?
Yes.
It was the evidence. So real estate, we always, if you want to appraise any country that is a first world nation, first you look towards infrastructure. You build infrastructure. That is a major aspect towards development. And that's where we have paid attention to. And that's where we will pay attention to. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
Regardless of how technology has dominated, but real estate is a key factor to development. We must pay attention in order to restore financial independence. Real estate is a factor.
Okay, understood, sir. I will get back to real estate in subsequent questions. Too often, Africans say the government will fix it, but freedom is never outsourced to the government. How do we inspire citizens to see financial independence as their duty, not just the continent's responsibility?
We have been built on survival. Africa as a whole will live in survival. Even at the terms we use, you should know it indicates survival. I make a go hustle now, find anything. You know, sometimes when I see leaders, they will tell you, some leaders will be successful through passion. And they come back and educate people, don't follow your passion. But you were successful through passion. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So that means, and that's my major focus on leaders. Because so many things has been wrong. And then people listen to our leaders in every sphere, and their mind and beliefs are being shaped through their words and actions. So we must look towards these leaders. The philosophy of these leaders is vital to the transformation of our people. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So it's not about inspiring the people itself. It's about inspiring the leaders. They don't inspire the people. Leaders, they must understand their identity. And then in turn, inspire the people. The people are not followers, are not members, they're not fans. They are all pioneers according to their gifts. And then you see one sector. One person is a pioneer, the other people are followers. That limits their ability.
True.
And when you see they live their whole life without making any meaningful impact. All they think is survival. No country has ever evolved in survival structure.
Very true.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
No country has ever evolved. Passion is a fuel to gifts. So, following your passion is because these people were not taught how passion itself, what makes you blossom. They think passion itself cannot equate finance to survive. So they teach you to live your passion first and then find how to survive before going for your passion. But those entrepreneurs, the same entrepreneurs, whatever they are using, either through technology or anything at all, any devices they are using, these devices were created through passion. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's it. That's it. So my focus is in the leaders, not the people itself. The people will be transformed because the people are submitted to various sectors of leaders. They are submitted to these leaders. But these leaders need to be transformed. They need to have a shift in perspective. Although I commend that they are doing a great job, but we are talking about restoring Africa power. We are talking about going back to our originality, our authenticity. To do that, these leaders must change the belief system of the people to be independent. to be creators. That's it.
Transformation must be vertical, not horizontal.
That's it.
History shows that every revolution required sacrifice. What comforts must African elites surrender? Is it about letting go of private jets, foreign schools, offshore accounts, if financial independence is to become a reality?
All right, thank you for the question. I have thought thoroughly on it. You ask great questions. I have thought thoroughly on this. What is it that our influential role models are ought to do? And we are very happy. We are proud of them because they are taking the African race forward. But what is it they are ought to do differently? It's very simple. They must leave their footprint for the people. What are the patterns and structures and strategy that took them where they are? They must leave this footprint for the upcoming generations. It's not about their money. It's about the footprint. They didn't get there to where they are through foundations or grants. Do you understand? There are factors to what got them there. I have thousands of books in my shelf, but you can't find one author as an African author in that shelf. You can see that someone wrote it for them, someone checked their personality and wrote it for them. But thank God that we change. I challenge all successful leaders to leave their footprints for these coming generations. Because they have no idea that these generations, they will make them proud. Because these generations will be the ones to elevate Africa. They are so gifted. And you have seen the gifts all around. What they need are patterns. That's why they think today that money is the limitation to why they are unable to thrive in businesses. That's not true. Resources will always flow towards opportunities.
True.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Elon Musk wants to make Earth multiplanetary, correct?
Yes, sir.
This is a futuristic project. It is not making a dime, but investors are flocking towards that idea, that opportunity, regardless of how long it takes. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
But the African continent, our sphere, has been designed for short-term gains, short-term gratifications, self-ambition. They don't look long-term. Amazon took 10 years without earning, without making profit. Because every great institutions are built for long-term.
True.
That's it. They're built for long-term. So our leaders have major roles to play. Major roles to play. Major roles to play.
Do you mean that mentorship and discipleship by Nigeria and every other African country's elites is the way for the continent to achieve financial independence?
It is one of the ways. These people, they are boomers. Most of them are boomers and most of them are Gen X. So that means they have experience from the foundation. I always say that the old have wisdom, we have exposure. That's what I always say. You have wisdom, we have exposure. So if wisdom and exposure is matched, what will happen? When youngs, they think they are everywhere, the olds are watching them because the old has experienced what they have not. They were there from the beginning.
True.
So they have major roles to play. Major roles to play.
No.
That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
When Africa rises financially, it threatens the global order that feeds on our weakness. What resistance do you expect from the West? And how must Africa shield itself from this resistance?
Power. Power. Power always resists power.
Mm,
Do you understand?
yes, sir.
It means that when Africa becomes powerful, there will always be resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So, when Africa begins to forge its paths and take control of its resources, that alone can withstand any strategy they will use to break us again. When our people, our talents have returned and begin to build Africa, there is no way they can leverage on our stupidity because now we are educated. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Control of our resources, creation, invention of things. That's where our leverage is. That's where our power is. We'll begin to own the cards, to be authority in the global stage.
Mm.
That's it.
Power. So, talking about power and also talking about what you do for real estate, is it safe to say that one of your power moves for the year 2025 is the program I've been hearing about, the initiative Reach Out Zumera? Is that a power move from LRE?
Richard Zumera is an initiative by Zumera Property, our company. And it's not a foundation. It's an initiative. I don't like the words foundation because the Richard Zumera itself was developed for a purpose to bring out the original identity of every African, every visionaries, every entrepreneur, regardless of the sector, to make them original and authentic. Everyone around the continent have its fingerprint. The way you have your fingerprint, you have your gift. The essence to why African is being looked down on is because we copy everything. Even down to the idea every entrepreneurs they formulate is not from them. They are not original. But to build anything to last, to be great institutions, it has to be built on authenticity.
That's true.
And that's what we are lacking. And Zumera is going further to reach out to this talented individual across our cities, beginning from Benin City, of which our domain is at the moment. We want to reach out to these talents, these visionaries, these entrepreneurs that in tomorrow they will be great leaders. But we need to groom them for today. We need to make them look and think on their feet. We need to make them understand that their instinct in them is a superpower.
Mm.
And the sky itself is a figment of their imagination. They can be anything they want to be. They can create anything within the African sphere that is authentic. And they will begin to be embraced by the West. That's what the Richard Zumera is about. It's not a foundation itself. It's beyond foundation.
Mm.
It is bringing out the true African essence in this individual. What makes them unique? What makes them powerful? That's what we are doing with the Richard Foundation, the Richard Zumera. And this year, 2025, just as you've said, we have come up with a theme, Build with Zumera.
Wow.
When we thought about Build with Zumera, Zumera is built upon the African identity.
Yes.
It would be one of the African brands groomed from this city and will be a global brand. And we want to head the next generation. We want to make them build with us through the idea, through the opportunity. As I've said before, opportunity flows towards resources. But if you can't communicate that opportunity properly, if you cannot make it originated from you, it can't attract the talents and the resources you are looking for.
True.
And that's exactly what we are doing. We build with Zumera this year, 2025. We will get these great minds together within the Benin. We are starting with Benin City. We get them together, and we begin to we get the best people from there. We begin to train them.
Wow.
When we are done, that entrepreneur that we owns that crown will be a star around the globe with his or her authentic nature, authentic self. That's what we will do. So you just watch out for Richard Zumera 2025, and you will get to know that this is not what you've been seeing in a sphere by any organization. This is what a true African initiative should be. Not the one they ask you to get grants. No, that's not what we are doing. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. It's amazing, and it's very comforting, if I should use that word, to eventually see a solution-centric side of LRA. For a long time, I've heard you speak about Africa, the need for mentorship, the need for us to discover who we truly are, our identity. And because I spend a lot of time on your page, the comments keep on flowing. Like, are you just sitting in your office? What are you actually doing? And people ask questions like, apart from talking, what are you actually doing? So I can imagine that everybody will be in on this. All of us are going to tune in on this to actually see what Build with Zumera builds for Africa. And I already envision a thorough mentorship program, because you spoke about mentorship in line with HNIs and the elites. A thorough mentorship program that beyond money, it gives people identity, it gives people opportunity, and it builds their capacity. It's going to be what we've never seen before, like you rightly said. And you often say that Africans must build for Africa. In practical terms, does this point to Richard Zumera, and how can you turn that philosophy into a new economic heartbeat for Africa?
Thank you. No, I don't just sit in my office. Zumera, it's as a company, they can go check out what Zumera is doing specifically for Edo State, Benin City. We have taken a step to push this city forward in development through property development and infrastructural development. And we are all about the future, building an inspired future for all African communities. Africans must build for Africans. And when we checked our influential leaders and entrepreneurs and great businessmen, we discover that only few are value-driven. A lot of them are self-ambition driven. Ambition alone cannot transform a community. That means, for example, I want to invest a certain amount of money, and then I normal entrepreneur will say, which place is more viable for this investment? But to change a community, it's not the question of viability. It's the question, how can I harness the potential of this location? That should be the question of every great influential business person. Because that location that you go to invest in somewhat make it viable for investments. Dubai, that is currently viable, everybody, even the Africans that they're saying they're claiming they're poor, they are investing in Dubai. Every minute of its agrees. Someone made it viable.
True.
If you understand that both human and natural resources are all potential, that means every locations are the same. Location don't make development. Development makes location. So that means no location, no land is subject to any land. It was made viable. For example, if I give a vivid example, if we want Benin City to be like Lagos, we must do what Lagos is doing.
True.
Is that not correct?
Too.
If we want Nigeria to be viable like Dubai, we must make Nigeria viable like Dubai. Is that not correct?
It is.
So instead of us taking our resources to invest in these nations, you remember every penny you moved from your city to another city is making that location more viable. So if you move your money from Nigeria to Dubai, you are increasing the economic capacity of Dubai, regardless of how much you want to make. So all our entrepreneurs and business investors are thinking viability. And then they are letting go of something important, that their cities are becoming forest, that no one is paying attention, that everybody wants to run away from their city because it is void of investment. And that's exactly what Zimera is doing. We want to channel the focus of our people back to our city. Let them understand that if we made this city viable, equivalent of the money you want to make in Lagos or in Dubai, you will make that same money here. It's about what you put in here. That's it. If they want training, we train them on how to make that happen. That's all. So stop demoralizing, stop diminishing your location, your cities. It has potential to be that same city you admire.
True.
And that's why I see all leaders in these states. They when it comes to leading, they come from various developed cities, they come here, and after leading, they go back. Because a place is viable for them. That location where they run back, there is a governor there. There is a senator there. There is a commissioner there. Is that not correct? Who made that location viable? Who beautified that location? As a leader, why didn't you do the same in your home? Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
That's it. It's common sense. It's common sense. So thank you.
I should be the one saying thank you, because it just occurred to me that where our tastes lies, what we choose to spend our resources on, actually shows what we think about ourselves. So if I'm in Benin City and I rather take my money to spend in Lagos, Asaba, or Abuja, and I leave Benin City, I'm denying Benin and the businesses in Benin the opportunity and the capacity that they could make when I believe in them and I partner with them with my resources. So it takes every single African to believe in certain locations, develop them, build the opportunity and capacity there, if we are going to put our hands on the plow and make sure that African cities are independent financially. It's not a one-person job.
Exactly. Sometimes when I think of this great Benin Kingdom, the potential it has, the history, what makes these great brands like Bugatti, Lamborghini, why are they expensive? It's because they have great heritage. They are able to leverage on their heritage and history, how they started, everything. The nations, the locations where they started from, and they emphasize on craftsmanship. That's why you think they are expensive. Edo State is one of the greatest kingdom, Benin Kingdom. They don't even know what they have and how to harness this state. There are two identities the West know about Nigeria. If you mention Nigeria, the first thing that comes to your mind is Lagos. Lagos have done that successfully. They're able to brand Lagos. Anything you think about is Lagos, that's great. But when it comes to history of Africa, of Nigeria, the other city you talked about is what? It's Edo Kingdom. So what are you doing as leader to leverage the history of this state? What are you doing? Can you see a city looking like a forest? No, it's not supposed to be so. Leverage in the capacity. Check the human capital talents within Edo State. it may surprise you that when it comes to entertainment, every entertainer, either comedian or singers around, they are making waves in Africa from Nigeria. Majority of them are either from Edo State or they pass through Edo State.
That's true.
Is that not correct?
It is.
So how you are harnessing this potential?
Mm.
And then they go to Lagos, that where they have opportunity, where they have same thing, opportunity, where there is infrastructure, then they blows up. Is that not correct? That's it. That's it.
If you had to bet on Africa's first $1 trillion story or industry, would it come from shiny sectors like fintech or from the forgotten sectors like agriculture, education, and local manufacturing?
Africa, all our cities, our countries in Africa are so blessed that no particular sector is the most appealing sector to be $1 trillion empire. They are all significant. What's more important is that we harness this sector effectively. So all sectors are viable to blossom. All sectors, entertainment, technology, real estate, everything we have has its capacity to take this economy to a greater height. Agriculture, you know what agriculture means. So we are so blessed. All we need is leader. One thing you should understand, but perhaps I need to, when I begin to speak to our leaders, do we understand what leadership is? Number one factor that determines leadership is chaos. So that means anywhere there is chaos, anywhere there is problem, that place requires a leader.
Mm.
Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
So if I'm going to speak to our governors, our politicians, when you are taking up a position, check around for the chaos. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's it. How can there be a leader in a sphere and people are still complaining? There is no leadership. Every leadership is supposed to lead to one thing: happiness of the people. That's all. In every sphere. Are they happy? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's it. I will speak to them. These leaders need a transformed mind, I believe, a perspective, because they want to understand that whichever platforms, whichever structure that they are following at the moment was from the Western structure, it won't work. It won't work for them.
True.
That's it.
70% of Africa's population is under 30. They do not need jobs, they need ownership. How does Richard Sumera, I'm calling you back to Richard Sumera because of what you just said. How does Richard Sumera move the youth from dependency to destiny?
Richard Zumera, as I've spoken before, is a very powerful initiative, very, very powerful initiative that we first help them discover who they are, their original self, what's their gift. And if we are done with them, majority of them, they will know whatever narratives they have is not who they truly are. It's what they've learned and they studied and copied. It's what they think it's what they think who they are. We are bringing them back to their authentic self. And everything that will come out of them will be original, will be authentic. That's the only way people will pay. No one pay attention to you when you copy people.
True.
You are only distinguished when you are original. Never copy people. Everything you need is inside of you.
That's true.
So what we are doing, Richard Zumera, is to bring out what is inside of them. And no one can do that except us. No one can do that except us. Because we know how to say it. That's who we are. And that's what we stand for. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So we have some more questions to go. Most empowerment programs are barely sustained. How will your initiative, Rich House Mirror, ensure that the winning idea not only survives, but scales, liberates thousands of people financially, and rewrites Africa's economy?
The essence to why they don't survive is because of that term empowerment. Anything you empower is because you've taken the power before. Is that not correct? You think about it. It's because you've taken the power. That's why it's not working. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
That's it. They took the power. So why will it work? You don't empower people. Think about that word empowerment. A leader, for example. I always want to talk about the politicians. A politician whom has been given the authority and resources by the people to govern, to manage these resources for them. And he's empowering them. Think about it. Is that not correct? How will they succeed? When you give peanuts to empower those who give you their resources. Do you understand? That's one. In all that sphere that comes in various forms like foundation and everything, it's because they're not living in their authentic self. That's why these programs are not effective. I don't know whether people they think. If you go back to the Westward and see how great ideas has been developed and retained, you will see the patterns. You will see the patterns. It's very clear. So we will change these things one after the other. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Finally, if Edo State becomes the model of financial independence in Nigeria, what will this mean for Africa and for you, who insist that Africa must rise without permission?
First, Edo State is Benin Kingdom is one of the greatest kingdom of all. So it has its gift, it has its own leverage. They don't even say that yet. We don't even know what Edo State have. Edo State's gift is in entertainment and hospitality. Check the people. Every gift is inside the people. If you want to know this city, this community, what gift they have, every city has been gifted and they're all different. Sometimes when there are conflicts between making this Benin City a tourist destination, Benin City is not a tourist destination. It's a location, the hub and the destination of hospitality and entertainment. And that's what we are making and restoring for Benin City. And it will be. So what's your question, if I get it clear?
When Benin City becomes the hub of financial independence in Nigeria, what would it mean for Africa and what would it mean for you?
I always say to my people that Benin City is the catalyst for development model in all cities. If Edo rise, every neighboring cities rise. It's the heartbeat of the nation. It is the heartbeat of the nation. You know what it means. When heart is not functioning, the entire body is in trouble. Is that not correct?
It is.
And that's it. It's not just a name, the heartbeat. It's what it connotes. It must rise. For Edo to rise, Benin to rise, the people must love this city and begin to invest in this city. And when it's done, it will be a model of development for every other city and continent. That's it.
It's been a solid time of learning. Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.